Hello friends, I'm sorry to be doing this from the car yet again. I'm in the parking lot of my work and I just wanted to see if somebody was watching me. This should have been posted a couple of days ago, but I'm a mess. Nothing new there. I wanted to talk about this beautiful thing. I just put it up on a display at my bookstore because I was like, why isn't this book up at the front? This book slaps so hard. So I guess that tells you what I thought of it. The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is the first book I've read by her, and it is just, oh, okay. So before I get into that, let's start with the usual. So as always, this video will have spoilers. I will let you know when the spoilers start. When the spoiling starts, it'll be like milk. You'll know. It'll curdle. It'll be great. So I will get more into detail towards the end of the video, but if you're just here, if you're here and you see it in the store and you're like, this sounds like a good time, is it a good time? I'm here to say, hell yeah, it's a good time. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5 or 5 stars. I need to go back and bump that shit up to 5 stars because I loved it so much. After I finish it, I have to say I immediately bought her other books. I think they are The Broken Girls and The Haunting of Maddie St. Clair. Maddie St. Clair. One of those. I don't know. I looked in the bookstore. I was like, what do we have by Simone St. James? I'm buying all of them. And I did. I haven't read them yet, but they were great. So if you're looking for a good blend of like spooky and murdery true crime goodness, this has ghosts. This has a good murder, a good unraveling mystery. And the spook factor is there. I got scared. I am actually legitimately afraid of ghosts. I believe in ghosts. Also, I'm really sorry if this video is a little shaky. I'm in my car, so it kind of shakes with me. I am not a fan of Stephen King because I feel like there's a lot of sexual content there. And I'm also not a fan of like throwing in a romance. There's none of that. None that in here. There's like allusions to feelings, but nothing really comes of it. I'm trying to think, is there any trigger warnings? Sexual assault is triggered, blood, things like that. Things associated with those things. So if those are things you really just can't stand, then I would steer clear of this. Just any thriller, really. So let's get into the nitty-gritty, get into the spoily goodness. So this book is about, of course, the Sundown Motel and the events that take place there. Now, what's cool is that there's a 30-year gap. So when you start in the book, you're in 1982, and it flip-flops perspectives between our main character named Carly and a third-person perspective of her aunt named Viv Delaney. And so Viv was working at the Sundown Motel in 1982 when she disappeared suddenly overnight, and then Carly is looking into her aunt in 2017. And the reason why she's looking into her aunt, there's a car that's just parked up next to me, and I'm scared because they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this girl doing? I'm making a video. Go away. Anyway, so Carly looks into the disappearance of her aunt because her mother just passed away from cancer, and her mother did not want her to look into her aunt because it's just unpleasant for her and she didn't want to find out the truth. And I know that when I watch some true crimes, some families rather not find out what's happened to their missing loved one. They rather just hope for the best. Or in Carly's mother's case, she just, she's like, my sister is dead. She doesn't exist anymore. So Carly takes it into her own hands, takes it upon herself to go to the town where the Sundown Motel is and investigate, see what's going on. And as the book goes on, there's a lot of parallels between Viv and Carly. A lot of like, Carly actually stays in the apartment that Viv used to live in the 80s, which was really cool. Also, this town is like stuck in time. So there's no cell phones. There's no real, like, the stuff that we have now, they wouldn't even know what that is there. So I believe it's called Fell, and it's in New York. So this motel is actually like stuck in the 70s, stuck in the early 80s, late 70s, with their accommodations. Like, I don't know why anybody would stay there unless, you're participating in recreational things. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the details in between everything, but basically, Carly uncovers a serial killer that is still allegedly alive and well in the town, and she comes to the conclusion that her aunt might have discovered the same thing, and her aunt might have tried to interfere. Now, a lot happens to get to this point, but you end up finding out that Viv did encounter this serial killer. Viv did make an attempt to save lives, to save the lives of his victims before they became his victims, unsuccessfully. And Carly doesn't know, whether or not she encountered him. And so her and her friend that she makes when she is in this town go investigating. They find a car with a body inside, and they think for a hot minute that it's her aunt, but it turns out no, it's that crazy serial killer. And so we're like, where the fuck is the aunt? And I can't believe I forgot the most important part. Anyway, they think it's at her aunt. They're like, where's the aunt? And it turns out, plot twist, the aunt has been alive this whole time. And I'm not going to tell you who the serial killer is, but I am just going to tell you that the aunt is alive, which is pretty cool how the whole thing unravels. So Viv actually was the one who killed the serial killer, and then she went into hiding because even though it was self-defense, it was her word against his, and the other person who was there is dead. So she didn't have any actual real evidence against the serial killer to prove to other people that it was a serial killer, other than she was a witness to it, and nobody else can confirm that. So I just thought it was a roller coaster from beginning to end. I kept thinking, it's this person, it's that person, it's this person, it's that person. Like, why is he doing this? What's going to happen next? The biggest thing that, it feels almost like an add-on, but to me it feels like a bonus. There are ghosts in the Sundown Motel. Yeah, it's fucking haunted, and I mean that in the best way. It's like almost the hotel in The Shining haunted, but not quite as murdery haunted. They can't interact with people. I mean, they can't touch you or hurt you or anything, of course, because they're ghosts, but they have a strong influence on the hotel and everything around them, but they can't leave beyond the confines of the hotel. So that element really just pushes everything forward. And I love that even though it is a plot device, it is a well-used plot device, and it is a well-executed plot device. And I just absolutely adore this book. And even though I know what the twist is and I'm really happy with it, I would 100% reread this. And this is going to live on my shelf until I die. And I want everybody to just pick up this book. And I love it. And that's really all I have to say. I didn't love the characters. I liked the characters. I wouldn't want to be any one of them. Maybe the aunt, because she's kind of a fucking badass. But, I mean, I appreciated the characters, and I loved the story more than anything. The story's just beautiful. Balance from character to plot. The plot was just magnificent. So, I don't know what that accent was. Anyway, people are staring. I'm going to eat a snack, and then I will see you all next time. Goodbye.